Hi, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. This video here I'll be doing a disassemble or teardown on a HP Omen laptop. And let me turn it around and show you the model number. This is the HP Omen 15 EK0013DX. Alright, so you get the chance to take a look. And that's how the laptop looks like. And this is the keyboard. As you can see that the keyboard is all attached together in one piece. It is not a separate keyboard. So I do expect that if you have a keyboard problem, you may have to replace the entire section here. I'm not 100% sure, so let's go ahead and take it apart and we go from there. Alright, so flip the computer to the back. It looks like the screws are just regular Phillips screws in the back. Alright, so there are 4 screws at the top and then 4 screws at the bottom. It looks like the screws in the bottom are slightly shorter. The screws on the top are slightly longer. And that should be it. So once you have the screws removed, you should be easily pop open the entire back cover. Okay. Alright, so once you take that apart, you can see that there are DDR4 RAM here. So let me pop it out and show it to you. If you want to increase the RAM or replace the RAM, all you need to do is to push the 2 little clipper on the side and the RAM would pop up. Okay. And this is the HP replacement part number. If you flip it around, it says 8GB PC4. PC4 stands for DDR4. So this has a 16 gig, so 8 and 8. I believe you can increase up to 32 by putting 16 and 16. So let me go ahead and install the RAM back on. So the way to do it is you slide it in at a certain angle, a little bit tilt, slide it in first, make sure it's all the way in, and you press it down. That clipper would lock the RAM. Okay, so as you can see, this is the battery, the 2 fans, and the motherboard. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is disconnect the battery. Let me go ahead and remove the screw first. By the way, this is your M.2 hard drive, the SSD drive. This is the one that has the operating system on it, and this copper metal is to disperse the heat. Okay, so there's only one screw that holds onto it. So yeah, if you want to increase your C drive capacity, if you're running low, you can replace with the M.2 NVMe SSD drive. I believe this is the second slot for that. Let's take a look and see if there's any M.2 in here. I believe no. Alright, so as you can see, there's an extra screw here for you to add on to the a secondary M.2 storage for yourself. Okay, so there's one screw here hidden underneath, is for the battery, so let's go ahead and remove that. Now the battery should just come right out, but before I do that, I need to disconnect the battery. I'm having some difficulties here. It looks like it's pretty tight. I wonder if I need to pull it or push it down. Let me see. Alright, so the battery, the way it works is a push in to install and a pull to remove it. Okay, so just push it in to install and pull to remove it. Just be careful, do not break any cables when you remove the battery. Now if you come here, if you take a look, this is the model number SD06XL. that is for your HP battery model. You can look it up or just look it up on the HP replacement parts here, and that's how you can find the battery. Alright, so move on to the next part. As you can see, this is your touchpad. It connects to here, and this is your keyboard. So the first thing I want to do is maybe disconnect all the cables. Also, this is a DC jack. Okay, and this DC jack is to power on your computer. Speakers here on both sides, and let's go ahead and disconnect this cable. Open up the clipper and pull out the cable. This is for your touchpad, and I believe this is the keyboard lighting, the back lighting. Keyboard, okay, and then here's your speaker. And there's another speaker here on the other side, so but it's actually hidden underneath. We're gonna work on that in a minute. Go ahead and disconnect the CPU cable, the CPU fan. Okay, so let's disconnect the DC jack. The DC jack, you just kind of push it up like how you do it on your battery. And let's work on the fan. So remove the screw. Okay, I wonder if the CPU fan is the entire piece with the heatsink. Let me kind of go through a little bit first to have a better understanding. Yeah, so the way it is made, I think that there is a plastic hidden underneath the heatsink. So in order to replace this one, more likely we need to replace the, not replace, but to remove the heatsink. So let's go ahead and open it up. Let's take a look at it. And of course, at the same time, you can get to take a look at the CPU and the GPU, the graphics card. And for those of you who feels like the graphics card or the GPU, the thermal paste is dried up, this is how you will apply a new thermal paste or thermal pad, whichever the way they built this. Okay, so let's take a look. Something is still holding the heatsink. I wonder what that is. Alright, actually there wasn't anything that is holding it, okay? It's actually my mistake. There's actually nothing that is holding the heatsink. It was actually the thermal paste that was all dried up, and I was having some difficulty to remove it. So let me just recap on this section. Let me go ahead and remove this dust first. Alright, so the heatsink, just pay attention here. So the heatsink goes slide underneath, okay? There are two screws, one on the left here, and the second one is on the top right corner here. Alright, so the two screws that holds onto the heatsink, and there are 7 screws that holds onto the CPU and GPU. Once you not remove but unscrew this and remove the 2 screws, the heatsink would just come right out, just like that. Okay, and you can go ahead and clean out the heatsink. And the CPU fan, there are 3 screws on it. Okay, 3 screws on both CPUs. So the CPU slide underneath the heatsink. Okay, let me put it on the side. That is for the CPU fan, and same goes for this one on the right CPU fan. It slide underneath. Okay, let me go ahead and point it out where you can buy the parts from. You can look it up here, and this is where you can buy your CPU fan. Alright, so once you have that, see, some of it is the thermal paste and some of it are thermal pad. So you may want to clean this one up and then apply a new thermal paste on it. Alright, so far so good. And this is your LCD cable. You can flip it up and disconnect this cable. Okay, and to replace the motherboard, you just got to unscrew them. Pay attention to this. This is your Wi-Fi. Okay, there are two cables here, and looks like somewhat is taped onto this Wi-Fi. So to remove it, you probably would need to remove this first. So let me disconnect this cable. I just want to get to the keyboard, and I show it to you that the keyboard, whether if it's replaceable or is it one piece altogether. So let's get to that part. Okay, there's one screw here for the motherboard, two screws on the top. And two screws on the side. Okay, this is just a tape that tapes onto your Wi-Fi card. Make sure you're going to put that back on, but before that I'll go ahead and label my Wi-Fi cable. Alright, so I know the blue one goes to the right, without the marker goes to the left. Disconnect the cable so that the motherboard can come right out. Okay. Alright, so far it's loose, it's trying to come out. What else is holding it? Let's see. Okay, the speaker here is holding it, so let's go ahead and disconnect the speaker. Okay, but before you can actually remove the motherboard, you would definitely need to remove this bracket, and this bracket is holding the DC jack connector. And there you have it. Alright, so the entire motherboard come right out just like that. Let me see if I can find the serial number where you can buy them. I'll look up for the part. So this is the one. Okay. Try to look it up, and they should have some kind of a serial, maybe hidden underneath the RAM. Let's see. Yep, there's another replacement part right here. This is where you can buy the replacement for the motherboard. Alright, let's put this on the side. As you can see, there's really not much with it. The keyboard is, punched down. As you can see, these are what we call the punch down. It's not a screw in keyboard. So if you need a replacement, more likely you need to replace the entire palm rest with that. To me, it looks like the touchpad is replaceable. The touchpad, remove these two screws, the metal clicker, and you can replace the touchpad. Okay, and the speaker is here. And what else? Yeah, about the LCD screen. The both hinge are here on the top right. So you remove the three screws, you're able to replace the entire screen. When I say replace the entire screen, meaning that you would replace this as well. Alright, so the entire LCD with the cover and the hinge, it goes up here. So the cable is going to come with it, and the Wi-Fi is going to be here, your Wi-Fi cable. So the screen hosts the Wi-Fi as well. Alright, so I hope that this video helps, at least explain. I try to explain my best to give step-by-steps, and hopefully my video helps and shows some of the steps that you need to repair your computer. If you have any question, comment below. Hopefully I can answer the question for you, and hopefully this video helps. In return, I would be really appreciate if you subscribe, or maybe like the video, or share the video. I would really appreciate you for doing that. So I hope everything goes good for you, and until next time, I'll make more videos for this. Okay, take care, and I'll see you again. Bye.